Hello everyone, welcome back to another Chess Monkey video, and today we're going to continue our preparation for the Colorado Clash Championship tournament, which is this weekend actually, and I'm following up on the other video I did, which was the white openings I'm playing, and today I'll be covering the black openings I plan on playing during this tournament. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, liking, subscribing, commenting. It means the world to me, especially as I get this channel off the ground. But I'm actually really excited for this tournament this weekend, and let me know in the comments below whether or not you want to see some analyses of our analyses. What are multiple analyses? Well, I cannot say that. That's my bad. But let's go ahead and cover what I got planned. So, of course, we got e4, which is the most common opening. And I have always been a Caro Kann player. If you haven't watched my video on the Caro Kann, you should. It's a really good video. But, you know, obviously c6, and then if they play into the Caro Kann, it's d4, and then I play d5. And, of course, they're just the 4 lines that I know of. Which is either advance, take, or like a classical variation where maybe they don't even bring out d4 and they bring out this and take this back. So let's go over all those. So just real quick, if we see the pawn pushed, then I play immediately c5. Let's say that they continue to develop. Usually they don't take this back because then I just open it up and take the bishop. So let's say they bring their knight out. I play the bishop move to g4. Sorry, brain fart. But then I'll after they continue to develop, whatever, I push this out, and then the idea here is that I'll be building to the pressure over on the queen side here, and hopefully winning this pawn back. Maybe even putting the queen here, pinning it to the king, and then taking the pawn once I'm able to secure it. But that's the idea of the advanced Caro Kann. Next we have the classical. So let's say that we play c6, and then they play something like, I don't know, knight to c3. We play this anyways, and they play something like this. In this position, I usually bring the bishop out, and I pin it to the queen, and then they do something like this. And then maybe I take, push. I don't know. I don't have a lot of classical preparation, but I actually really do like this position. And then we'll eventually push everything out and try to fight for the center. And then the last variation that's not the exchange variation is the fancy variation, which goes like this. And then we see pawn to f3. And what you do here is you just take and then play e5. And if they take, you just take their queen. To mess up their king, not allowing them to castle. So those are the 3 variations that you don't see as often, but usually, especially because I'm playing in the intermediate section, you don't see this as much. So what we'll probably face is the exchange variation if they take like this. And usually how I play this is just take back, they develop, we develop, they develop, we develop. They may bring their bishop, let's say, here, pinning my king. I may either bring it here, or I'll just do the same thing with their queen, either or. But eventually we're getting in the position where we are hopefully somewhere where we can bring our bishop out, our queen out, and just pressure this whole side. Maybe we kick this out, and then we'll castle. So that's the normal way I play the exchange variation, but I was learning into the godly, not spelled like godly, like holy, but more God and then Ley, and that's the godly gambit. And you bring the knight to g6, and then it's followed up by usually the exchange. If they don't exchange, it's just a winning position for you, so they just take, and then you bring knight to b6. This is actually a lot worse than the exchange Caro Kann positional wise. The computer doesn't like it as much, but I think there's some interesting concepts here, such as, let's say they bring their knight out to protect it. We can go ahead and just play e5. If they take, we're going to just take their queen and mess up their castle. And we can play here. Actually, let's go through that. So we take this, forcing them to take their queen back. And we can play the move knight to f4, which threatens both a fork and taking the pawn back because this is protected. So I really like that position specifically. Sorry. But then let's say they don't take and they just start moving their pieces out. We just go ahead and we pin it here and we try to play this. And then eventually, like, let's say we go back to the position we were just at where we play here, they take, take. We play here. Maybe they play something like this. We can go ahead and also take here, but we could also just take here, which I also like. And then we can play this, pinning this here. Let's say they bring the knight out, and then the big idea, especially because shout out to Levy Roseman, Gotham Chess, we long castle and we check them, which is a brilliant move. And I just like this position for black, even though white is slightly winning in this exact position. But like this gambit, I feel like can lead to a lot of interesting lines, and especially playing people who are more difficult than me, getting queens off the board. Is something I'm looking to do because, you know, queens are scary and I don't want someone who's better than me to have one. So I'm okay with a game like this. I actually really like this a lot, and eventually we'll, you know, start putting a little bit more pressure. Maybe we'll bring the bishop here instead, or maybe we even just go ahead and just take. Probably the best move is just to take here on e5. So that is all in response to e4. I know that was a lot, but next is d4, of course, and I play d5 because d5 we can just play into whatever they play. You know, the Queen's Gambit declined. Queen's Gambit declined. There we go, and that's something I'm pretty solid with. I played that a lot. Also, if the London system, we can just counter that by playing c5, looking to eventually go here, here, and then have this, and then if they use their knight to protect, we just pin it to the queen. Really not that difficult, and we usually are able to get an equal position there. But so yeah, that's what I tend to go for. But I also have been looking into the Dutch defense, which I obviously don't know a lot of theory, but that is f5, and that is followed up. Let's say they just play a normal queen's pawn opening. Maybe, in fact, let's say they're playing a queen's gambit, so they play c4. We go ahead, we can play 3 different variations, and I'll just go through these. So this one is the classical variation, I think it's called, and it's where we go for a structure like this. It doesn't really matter what white does in this position, we're just trying to show off. And then it's castle, and this is the classical variation, and it's really, really structurally sound, but what you do see is a lot of times you're unable to bring your knight out, and if you do bring your knight out, you have to go to the other side. Maybe we play a5 next, and then the light squared bishop is also trapped. But then the idea I like about this position is, like, let's say that I'll just play a nothing move. What is it, like that? Whatever. Just to get to this position, let's say they castle, right? When they castle, what we can do here is we can overwhelmingly pressurize the king side really quickly. So we play something like queen here, and we'll be ready to play here, here, bring this up, even go there, and then maybe we push these pawns to open up this bishop. We can bring a lot of our pieces to the king side if they're castled on the king side very quickly. And I actually had a game the other day over the board, a classical match at the local club, and I sacrificed probably a knight and 2 bishops, and I checkmated them using the Dutch defense. And actually this, not this exact position, but a very similar position, and it worked very well. It's a very aggressive opening, as the Ginger GM likes to say. It's not an opening you play to lose, or opening you play to draw or have an equal position. Other like d5 openings, I'm trying to get an equal position. Here I'm trying to win, trying to crush them. So playing f5, we can also play the modern variation, which goes something like this, which obviously is a lot different than what you expect or what you just saw me play. But this is like a modern variation. We'd eventually be going here, maybe here even, bringing the queen around, or I don't really know a lot about the modern variation. I probably wouldn't play it, but I personally think it's an all right defense. I just don't like this weakness on the light squares, and then eventually the dark squares once it gets more simplified. So ideally, I'm not going to play the modern variation. If I play Dutch, I'll probably play the classical. But we also have the Stonewall, which is just a classical Dutch, except you get this, or you get this structure right here, which is what you go for, kind of a Stonewall as it's called. But that's the Stonewall Dutch, which I probably won't play. I'll probably stick to the classical Dutch if I'm going to play the Dutch at all. But the one thing about the Dutch is that you want to look out for the Staunton Gambit, which you probably see everywhere on YouTube. The Staunton Gambit, whatever. But this is actually winning for black. Interesting, but you have to be very careful in your moves. So you have to take, obviously, and then they will play on c3, trying to take it back, and then you got to follow that move up with, I think it's f6. I think it's f6. You just got to keep control of the center. Eventually, you'll play this move because this is guarded by the queen and this. And I think you're fine in this position. Actually, I think it's ideal. But I doubt I'm playing anyone who will play the Snotting Gambit. You can't, like, decline this. So, yeah. And then if I play against anything that's not d4, e4, so let's say something like this, or maybe something like this, and then we're going to get a King's Indian attack from white. I might just play either the Dutch, very quickly set up, because I mean you can play the Dutch against anything that's not e4, obviously, or I might even just play, just try to take the center. If they're gonna give me the center, might as well just try to take it and fight for it and get some play. And I feel pretty confident in my positional play. If you saw my puzzles video, my tactics were a little off that day, but I feel actually pretty confident in my tactics. So yeah, I think if I get myself in a good position, I'll be able to win it and I'll be able to go through. Please tell me what else you want to see with these openings. Maybe I'll go through some other openings. I was thinking about the English. I don't know if I really showed that off. I might want to go more in depth. I'm thinking about releasing another beginner opening bootcamp episode, obviously taught by an intermediate, not anything, I'm not a master. One day though. And yeah, let me know what else you want to see, especially if you want to see analysis CCs of the tournament I play, because I think we're going to have some interesting games, and I'll let you guys know if I win it. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I really appreciate you guys even clicking on this video. It means the world to me. I know these don't get a lot of views, but hopefully one day. So thanks for sticking with me. Please subscribe. Stay for the journey. I love you guys. I'm out.